Okay, so with day one complete, we're now going to roll into day two. On day two, our goal today is to make 2 cavern dives, but it's not just about going in and seeing the cavern. What we are going to do is first start on the land, and now we're going to run a line on the land, simulating a cavern line, similar to the one we're going to actually have in the water. On that cavern line, what you're going to have is we're going to need to discuss in detail now how I want the divers in a team to maneuver themselves and position themselves and utilize and use their lights. We've got information that we need to give each other, like anything you see on the line might need an attention signal, and anything that involves turning around or calling the dive has an end of dive protocol. So we need to learn how to do that. During the turn of the dive or the end of the dive, on your way out, you're going to need to then do a series of skills. One of them is a zero visibility exit. Now, there's 2 methods we're going to use and try and learn today. One is touch contact. So you're making constant contact with the person and you're moving out as a team. The second variation is bump and go. This is where you're moving independently, but you're only going as far as one tie off away. So you reference something and move past it before making contact and continuing. We're going to then take that into the water. So we're going to run, before we do into the cavern itself, we're going to run an open water line circuit. Very simple, just a nice big square. On that square, we will demonstrate to you how to correctly hold and position yourself on the line. The correct arm position, the correct position with the hand, and then how to move, at what sort of speed, and how you reference and read a tie off, move past it and continue. You'll then be expected to do that both ways. That way we're setting you up for success for the cavern itself. So you'll do it touch contact and bump and go. After we've done that, we're likely to make our first cavern dive. On that cavern dive, we'll choose one of those methods and you'll be performing that on the exit. When you're in the cavern, I expect you now to do what we did on land. For this time, for real, you're going to be inside the cavern zone. We'll have predetermined limits and everything else, but you'll stick to those limits and we'll do that. The difference of day 2 is that you guys are the ones leading the cavern dive. Yeah, you'll take it in turns as well. There's 2 in the team, then you'll switch roles for the second dive. On the second dive, after we've had a debriefing, you will do the other method. So if you do touch contact on the first one, your exit this time will be bump and go. Then later on, we can assess both of those things together. One of the exercises we like to do, sometimes day 1, and if we don't get it done, we'll do that on day 2, is during the exit phase, we're going to simulate what happens if you have a primary light failure. So we'll turn that light off, or ask you to do that. You'll need to deploy and use your backup lights for the remainder of that exit until you make it back to the open water. So later on, we can look at how effective that was in terms of communication. You're still to do your job as a cave diver, to exit the cave correctly, do any communication that's needed, and we can comment on how useful those backup lights were for that job. So if we are to use the backup light drill, we'll probably do that at some point on the exit of the first cavern dive. On the second cavern dive, another drill I'd like to do, I'll get you to hold and you become stationary on the line this time. You're going to show that you can remove and replace your mask. So you'll need to take off the mask, retrieve your other one from a pouch or a pocket, put that on, and then again, you're going to make the remainder of that exit with your backup mask on. So I expect you to hold contact with the line there, and we'll have a full video briefing on how to do that. So another task I would like to complete on day 2, we're going to make those 2 cavern dives. And what I want you to do is record the information and recall it from when you start a dive, you get to your turning point, you're going to use a certain amount of air consumed for that, and you're going to have a certain amount of time at that point. I want you to recall that, so when we go back and we exit, at the same time we exit, we're going to stop again and recall that data and compare it to the other one. You'll have to do that twice today for both cavern dives. And the goal of that is just to see and get some information on how fast you're moving, how much air you're using, and then if you're doing the same arguably cavern again, we can see if it improves or not, and we can see also how any exit drills impact. And this is going to be something that we're going to continue to do throughout all the days. moving on from your cave training.